We end here tonight with a sleeping giant, an ancient supervolcano beneath Yellowstone National Park.
Yellowstone caldera's magma reservoir contains substantial melt at depths that fueled prior eruption.
Deep within the weird heart of Yellowstone, something massive has suddenly emerged from the shadows. What was once hidden beneath the layers of earth and time has now risen to the surface, and scientists are seriously getting terrified this time. While millions of people around the world continue to marvel at the mystery that's Yellowstone, popular podcaster Joe Rogan is not swayed by the iconic park's beauty and has rather issued a terrifying warning. According to Rogan, the Yellowstone volcano is a caldera supervolcano that's capable of wiping out entire continents. And when they explode like they do every 600,000 to 800,000 years, everyone dies. So, join us as we uncover the shocking truth about this famous landscape and how something huge has finally emerged from Yellowstone, one that seriously has scientists extremely terrified. Yellowstone's 2-million-year volcanic waltz. Yellowstone National Park is like a giant pressure cooker on the Earth stove. It's settled on a semi-melted rock in the crust, with a massive hot rock column bubbling up from the Earth's mantle. Over the past 2 million years, Yellowstone has thrown 3 colossal outbursts, each time leaving behind a huge bowl-shaped dent in the Earth's surface known as caldera. These caldera-forming eruptions are the rock stars of volcanic events. They're the Godzilla of eruptions, capable of carving out depressions that stretch for miles. Yellowstone has earned itself a reputation as a supervolcano, the heavyweight champ of volcanic possibilities. Blame it on the scorching heat from the mantle plume beneath the park. This heat does a number on the Earth's crust, turning it into a molten mess and building up magma over time. As the magma stockpiles, pressure mounts, cracks start forming in the crust, and a cataclysmic eruption ensues, spewing out an insane amount of magma. This eruption is so intense that it drains the magma reservoir below, and the crust collapses in on itself, forming a caldera. It's like the grand finale of a fireworks show, but way more explosive. The hotspot in the Earth's mantle beneath Yellowstone. This fiery spot was born around 17 million years ago and has been causing trouble ever since. Yellowstone's been a hotbed of activity for over 2 million years, playing host to a variety of seismic mischief, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and all kinds of volcanic drama. Back in the day, Yellowstone went through some serious makeover with huge volcanoes going kaboom about 2,100,000 years ago, making a crater so massive it could swallow up the whole state of Rhode Island. That's one giant hole. Then, 1,300,000 years ago, eruption round 2 shook things up in Island Park, eastern Idaho. Fast forward to 630,000 years ago, and voila, the present-day Yellowstone caldera was born from eruption number 3. These eruptions weren't our average fireworks. They were like the Godzilla of eruptions, way bigger than the 1980 Mount St. Helens show, 6,700 and 2,500 times larger respectively. These mega eruptions happen every 600,000 to 800,000 years. Some people start to ask if Yellowstone is on the brink of another big explosion. Predicting the exact destruction level is like trying to guess the number of jelly beans in a jar. Most likely, we'd see some lava flow action, the usual calm, molten rock stroll from the Earth's crust. It's happened in 90% of Yellowstone's previous eruptions. If we're talking about the worst-case scenario, an explosive eruption forming a caldera, scientists are still debating the extent of the damage, the impending threat of a colossal eruption. Yellowstone, that serene national park, suddenly transformed into a chaotic scene. If a colossal eruption were to shake things up, it wouldn't just be a burst of hot lava. It'd be like the Earth decided to throw a massive outbursts. The magma would gush out like there's no tomorrow, enough to fill the Grand Canyon more times than you can count on your fingers. A thick blanket of ash covered everything in its path, inching its way 1,000 miles away from Yellowstone. The sky, usually clear and bright, would turn into a muted canvas thanks to the ash blocking the sunlight. This could lead to a global cooling event, as if the Earth decided to hit the snooze button on the thermostat. The air quality would be so bad that every breath would feel like a battle. Jacob Lowenstein, the scientist in charge at the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory, when asked about the chances of this volcanic extravaganza happening, he spilled the beans on the potential fallout, a disastrous domino effect on the global economy, chaos on the roads, a powerless electrical grid, millions of livestock biting the dust, and a chill in the air that could last a decade or more. Over the last 3 decades, experts have been keeping a close eye on the Yellowstone caldera. Jacob Lowenstein pointed out some interesting earthquake activity in 2008 and 2010. During their watch, the observatory also spotted the ground of the caldera doing a little dance, rising and sinking by 5 to 10 inches, like the surf catching a mysterious rhythm. There's a whole system of notifications and alerts set up just in case the volcano decides to throw a party. The Yellowstone Volcano Observatory, a team effort involving 8 organizations and supervised by the U.S. Geological Survey, has been on the scene since 2001. Their main gig is keeping tabs on Yellowstone's volcanic vibes and making sure people get the 411 on any potential eruption risks. They're not just sitting around either. They're out there doing all sorts of cool research, tracking earthquakes, watching the ground move, and keeping an eye on the volcano's activity. The experts have a plan in place. If, by some wild chance, the volcano decides to go off, they've got notification systems ready to roll. The Yellowstone caldera has 2 magma reservoirs, one not too far below the surface, and another way deeper. They used to think the shallow one was mostly solid, but new science says it's got more liquid magma than they thought. The more liquid magma, the higher the chance of an eruption. While they can't stop it, these scientists are pretty confident they can spot the signs and give everyone a heads up well in advance. A new lens on Yellowstone's hidden depths. Recent high-tech research using super-advanced computers to explore seismic data from the past 2 decades reveals that there's more melted rock in Yellowstone's underground reservoir than we thought, somewhere between 16 to 20%. This discovery is a big deal and pushes our understanding of Yellowstone's hidden makeup forward. Carrie Cooper, an Earth and planetary scientist at the University of California, Davis, who wasn't involved in the study, shared her excitement with James Deenan from New Scientists. She said, "It's like putting a new lens on an old camera, giving us a clearer view." Michael Poland, a research geophysicist and the head scientist at the U.S. Geological Survey's Yellowstone Volcano Observatory, also not part of the study, likens it to having a better resolution on the same camera. It's a familiar tool, but now we can see things more sharply. When earthquakes happen, they create seismic waves that travel through the Earth's layers, slowing down when they hit molten rock. Scientists measure the time it takes for these waves to reach seismometers on the surface, using it to figure out how much magma lies below. In the past, analysis simplified the path of these waves, assuming a direct, straight line from the earthquake to the seismometer. But now, with this advanced technology, it's like we upgraded from a blurry image to a high-definition snapshot, giving us a clearer picture of what's happening beneath the surface. The ocean of waves, dancing and weaving with grace, their journey far from simple. In this exploration, scientists took a high-tech approach, employing supercomputers that could put our laptops to shame. These machines brought seismic waves to life in 3 dimensions, like a 3D movie, but way more intense. Ross McGuire, the brain behind this seismic spectacle from the University of Illinois Urbana, spilled the beans to New Scientists. He shared how this advanced simulation gave them a backstage pass to Yellowstone's underground theater, revealing the intricate crystal marsh beneath the famous volcano. Beneath the feet of unsuspecting visitors lies a fiery secret: hot molten rock, the force behind the park's geysers and hot springs. Most people don't give it a second thought as they snap selfies, but maybe they should. Yellowstone's supervolcano has a track record of erupting every 600,000 years. It's been roughly that long since the last explosive episode. If this supervolcano decides to throw a tantrum, it won't just be a quiet fireworks show. We're talking about a potential catastrophe, a blockbuster eruption. Imagine a massive curtain of dust and ash hogging the spotlight, blocking out the sun for years. The grand finale includes a 25-mile-wide hole in the western part of the United States, courtesy of Mother Nature's explosive creativity. The NASA superheroes, a team of scientists and engineers armed with brains and gadgets, are on a mission to cool down the volcano, literally. They're cooking up a plan to steal the heat from under Yellowstone's fiery belly. Because, as it turns out, these volcanic beasts take their sweet time, heating up, accumulating energy over hundreds or even thousands of years. NASA's got a cool strategy. They're like, let's drill a hole into the side of this beast and pump some water in. As the water flows out, it's scorching hot, hitting over 600,000 degrees. NASA's crew is hoping this hot water will be the ultimate chill pill for the volcano, cooling it down and preventing it from going all explodey. These scientists are not just stopping at saving the day. They want to use this heated water as geothermal energy to power up the whole Yellowstone area. The plan is to keep that geothermal generator running 24/7 for hundreds, maybe even thousands of years. Free, clean energy for thousands of years. NASA's not just thinking about one volcano, they're dreaming big. They want to set up these energy generators on other supervolcanoes worldwide, kind of like superhero safeguards against nature's explosive tantrums. The goal is to be ready and powered up before any of these supervolcanoes decide to show their destructive side. NASA's putting this proposal out there, hoping everyone gets on board as soon as possible. They know time's ticking, and that volcano's not going to wait forever. It's like a race against nature, but with science and a whole lot of ambition. Ancient mud cores reveal Yellowstone's dual fury. According to some fresh findings, it seems like Yellowstone might have blown its top not once, but twice in a span of 200 to 170 years. Researchers stumbled upon this nugget of information from mud cores off the coast of Santa Barbara, California. These mud cores aren't our run-of-the-mill dirt patches. They're like ancient archives that spilled the beans on Yellowstone's secret eruptions. Buried at the ocean's bottom, far away from the park, these mud cores held tiny traces of Yellowstone's ash, whispering tales of explosive events. Normally, when Yellowstone erupts, we'll find the evidence in thick layers of rock on land, all weathered and compacted. Each eruption coincided with a drop in temperature of about 3 degrees Celsius. They went full detective mode, analyzing oxygen isotopes and fossilized plankton in those mud cores. It wasn't a quick burst of heat and cold. Each eruption and the ensuing chill lasted a whopping 100 years. If this research holds water, it means Yellowstone is like a superhero recharging at lightning speed between eruptions. That's way faster than we ever imagined. It throws shade at our old-school understanding of volcanic winter, that period of cooling caused by a volcano's ash playing hide-and-seek with sunlight. It just doesn't add up when we've got a century of cooling post-eruption. It turns out that predicting Mother Nature's moves is still a head-scratcher. Even though the supervolcano under Yellowstone National Park seems to be napping right now, there's no telling when it might wake up and shake things up. It's the ultimate mystery waiting to unfold. Many smart people reckon Yellowstone is still an active player in the volcano game. They say there's this hot, gooey stuff called magma chilling under the ground, making the whole place a potential hot mess. How do they know? There are these hot springs and geysers around. Plus, the ground sometimes shakes like it's doing a little dance. Around 70,000 years ago, it had a lava flow party. When a volcano's a big deal and has had a real doozy of an eruption, like a magnitude 8 or higher, they call it a supervisor volcano. Yellowstone fits the bill. Given its history and the fact that magma's lurking around, the smart money's on another eruption down the line. No one, neither the eggheads nor the regular Joes, can say for sure when or how it will blow. Peaking underneath a volcano, it's a real challenge. And these eruptions? No schedule, no heads up. In the last couple of decades, though, scientists have upped their game, looking for signs that a volcano is about to throw a tantrum. The Yellowstone Volcano Observatory crew keeps their eyes peeled all the time, using fancy tools to spy on the area. Before a volcano goes all out, there are a couple of telltale signs. Imagine this: A series of strong earthquakes showing up like uninvited guests at a party, and the ground deciding to change its shape on a whim. These signs usually pop up in the days and weeks leading to the grand eruption finale. Mapping Yellowstone's magma reservoir in 3D. Scientists are like volcano detectives, and they think that if a big eruption happens in Yellowstone, it would be a super dramatic event. The Yellowstone supervolcano usually has some low-key movements in the ground and small earthquakes because of the magma chilling underground. But as long as these things stay chill, scientists don't stress about it. The cool people at the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory keep tabs on the ground using seismic stuff to catch any weird vibes. A study in the Nature Reviews Earth and Environment journal says predicting when these mega eruptions will go down is a real head-scratcher. They only happen like once every 100,000 years, and when they do, it's like Mother Nature throwing a massive tantrum. The brainiacs at the University of Utah did some cool science stuff. They mapped out the underground of the Yellowstone volcano using earthquake information from all over the place. They made a 3D map and found this huge pool of melted rock about 10 to 30 miles below the Earth's surface. Jamie Farrell, part of the University of Utah's earthquake research team, spilled the beans on a groundbreaking discovery. Our comprehension of the risks tied to Yellowstone's volcano just got a massive upgrade. The scientists cooked up a 3D model of Yellowstone's underground structure. They kept tabs on earthquakes, both close by and across the globe. Jamie draws a nifty parallel there. They're basically capturing images to crack the code of Yellowstone's volcanic secrets. Here's the lowdown in simpler terms. When an earthquake kicks off, it starts from way down below the Earth's surface and then climbs its way up. The speed of this seismic journey can shift based on the stuff it barrels through. For instance, if it bumps into hot or kinda molten rock, it hits the brakes. Different materials mess with its pace. Why does this matter? Well, knowing where an earthquake kicks off and how long it takes to hit the recording gear lets us roughly figure out what lies in between those points. It's like piecing together a puzzle with data from thousands of quakes happening all at once across the map. Yellowstone is decked out with loads of seismic recording gadgets. They're strategically placed to nab local quakes because scientists are laser-focused on dissecting every nook and cranny of this mega volcano in America's heartland. Why? Just in case there are any red flags hinting at a major eruption brewing. Relying solely on local quakes has its limits. It only spills the beans on the ground up to about 10 miles deep. To dig even deeper, we need to get a bit more creative. Scientists went big with a massive project called EarthScope. They scattered earthquake recording stations all over the United States and kept tabs on seismic activity worldwide. By analyzing data from global earthquakes happening far away, they dug up some serious intel on the Earth's upper mantle, the hot layer about 30 miles or even deeper beneath the Earth's crust. To map out the magma sources under Yellowstone, these scientists had to dive into the middle section, roughly 10 to 30 miles beneath the Earth's surface. The tricky part was that this area wasn't fully accessible with just global or local earthquakes. The researchers cracked the code by combining data from both sources, conjuring up a detailed image. Tobias Dull, a seismological researcher not involved in the study, breaks it down. This approach patched up the gap between the shallow and deep sections of Yellowstone's volcanic system, offering a fresh perspective on something we didn't quite get before. The scientists stumbled upon a way bigger magma reservoir under Yellowstone National Park. Sin-Hai Hung, the geologist leading the charge, wasn't shocked. The daily carbon dioxide emissions from Yellowstone were way higher than what the known magma chambers could explain. It led many scientists to expect a larger magma body, even if they didn't know the details. With this fancy 3D map of the magma reservoir they just snagged, he thinks future research teams will whip up more complete models of the entire Yellowstone supervolcano system. This improved understanding could be the key to figuring out what might set off another eruption, giving us a heads up on the potential risks and timing of such events. If we're wandering around Yellowstone, we make sure to stick to the assigned paths and walkways, steer clear of hot spots when the ground is feeling a bit shaky, and always follow the advice the park gives us. It's not just about having a good time with the cool geysers and hot springs, it's also a little reminder that there's some serious action happening beneath our shoes. Do you think we might witness an eruption at Yellowstone soon? Let us know your opinions in the comments below.